So welcome back to Camera Electronics, CETV, with the Soul Man Frank, and we are honoured to be here talking about everything to do with photography. So here we are, we get to test new cameras, new toys, new exciting bits of photography, and we can't do that without our great customers. And sitting to my right is Gustavo. Gus, thanks for being here, man.
Honored to be here, Saul, thank you.
Good, you get to test out some of the cool new toys that we get to sell in our store. So tell me, what is this in front of us here?
Well, this is the new Fujifilm camera, the XT5. Coming from the XT iteration, they have all the dials in the retro look of the Fuji. We got it into the matte, especially with people that enjoy the vintage look and feel of photography. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. See, I'll let him introduce the actual camera. When you're a Fuji fan, it's a big deal. There's like a whole Fujifilm community, isn't there?
It is a lifestyle. It is, yeah, it's something else. It's not just about the camera photography or being a professional photographer. It's about the art, it's about the photography, it's about the colors, and it's about the feel. It's how these cameras make you feel like going out and shoot.
Yeah, so I noticed, even because this is XT5, so 5th generation in the XT lineup, and all throughout that they've kept this retro style. And when we talk about retro, rather than buttons, this is the dials you're talking about on the top.
Correct. So you have direct access to ISO, shutter speed, and on the lenses, obviously the aperture ring. So yeah, I come from shooting film, and this just feels right.
What was your first film camera?
It was a Zenith.
Oh wow.
12 XP12, something like that. Yeah,
awesome.
with a Helios lens, 58 f2.
And that would have been the same as these top. You would have had a shutter speed dial.
Exactly right.
And an aperture ring on the lens, just like this Fujifilm lens here.
Exactly, felt the same. It feels like, yeah.
And your first Fujifilm camera?
It was an XT10. I was aiming for the XT1, but unfortunately didn't have the money power to go for that at that stage. But nowadays I have an XT2. I've been through XT10, 20, the XT2 now. I have also an X100V. Before that, I tried the waters with the original X100.
The 100V is really hard to get hold of at the moment.
It is. I actually got one from you guys, first release. You held it for me like, Gus, it's here.
Yeah.
Come and get it.
Oh, it's a beautiful camera. And in that X100V, along with all the X in the sort of more the retro styling, it's got the shutter speed dial and the exposure compensation and ISO.
Yes, correct. It's a rangefinder style, which is slightly different. And the ISO and shutter speed are a combined dial on that camera, because you don't have the left side
So if you're
dial.
a Fujifilm owner, it's just really easy and natural to transition into this one.
Super easy, yeah, super easy.
Cool.
It feels natural. Yeah.
I noticed they've actually, like, because they've got their sort of, I suppose, maybe attacking some of the pro photographers and videographers. They've got the XH2 lineup, and you've got the 8K video, and this is 4K video, because some photographers, they're not so worried about stuff like that.
Correct. I'll correct you here. It's 6.2K video on this one.
Oh, okay, 6.2K.
It was 4K on the XT4.
I need to get a 6K TV for home then.
Yes. I am not a video shooting myself, but I did experiment a little bit with video. And the first thing that popped to me was that now when you press record, a full red frame comes around the screen. So it's clear that you are recording. In previous cameras, it was just that little red dot blinking. Yeah. It was not that clear. So I thought it was quite a nice thing for them to do.
I noticed that when it comes to megapixels, they've gone up to 40.2 in the megapixels.
Yeah, so they're following with the H2 and H2S there. 40.2 megapixels from the previous ones. It's a big jump. And on the files, you can see it's a big difference. Yeah, it's
amazing.
crazy.
And of course, it's not just about the megapixels. Fujifilm, the pure logo, and the community who love photography have all come from, a lot of them probably come from film cameras. So I noticed that Fujifilm, in every iteration, they have film simulation modes where some of the old films, like the 35mm film 120 used to put in the camera, that was called things like Velvia and Astia and Provia. You'd buy a roll of film for a specific genre, for a landscape with certain colors or skin tones like Astia, and they're inside this camera.
Yeah, so since the first Fujis, they started building up on that catalog. XT5 is now with 19 of those few simulations. Yeah. The latest one being the nostalgic neg. So they've been building up on that catalog, and there's a huge Fuji community that builds on recipes for those simulations. Okay. So straight out of camera, you can just select, as you said, like Provia or Astia, and you would have already a great image that would resemble those stock films. Yeah. But people go out of their way to actually tweak all the in-camera possibilities of tone
to recreate
curve.
film.
Correct.
And it's actually already in there.
Correct. Yeah. You add grain to it. You change sharpness, noise reduction, clarity, things that you would usually only see in softwares like Lightroom or Capture One, etc.
Okay, I get it.
You actually have it in camera now, and people are creating recipes on top of those film simulations created by Fujifilm to broaden that
so
even more.
It's like a digital algorithm in the camera. You go into the menu, you hit film simulation mode, and you choose one of these 19.
Correct.
And because Fujifilm made and built those films originally, they're the best ones to know how to make it into a digital algorithm in the camera that will simulate that exact film.
Correct. And the colors are amazing.
And well, they all know all about it because they built it. And then when you talk about menu systems, so this is everything to do with photography. I know it's a real photographer's camera, but just to keep things really just nice and easy, they've got two separate menu systems, one for a photographer and one for a videographer.
Correct. There's a dial where you select, you have the stills mode and the movie mode. And in camera, you also have access to a completely separate movie menu as well. So it's pretty handy for people who are doing both. Sometimes you're shooting a wedding or something and you're doing stills, but doing movie as well. So you can have those things already preset separate. You have,
and then I suppose when you talk about movie mode, like the H2's got, if you're really into your videography, you want to take it to that next level, you've got the H2 system with the 8K and the CF Express cards. But they've still given you some quality video in here. So you've got a 6.2K video with 30 frames per second.
And 4K with 60 frames per second. Perfect. Which is not bad.
For most people, this is absolutely amazing.
Exactly. It's great.
And I noticed like they've gone for the vari-angle screen rather than the three-way.
Yes.
Whereas I suppose the videographers might want to flip it all the way out like on the H series, whereas photographers don't need to do that.
Correct, yeah. As a photographer myself, when you guys invited me to try this camera, one of the first things that came to my mind was which flip screen is gonna be. And then I was so happy to see this and to see that Fuji listen to people, because obviously for a photographer, this kind of flip screen is the best one. It's so easy, it's so handy, and it's fast.
And it feels quite rock solid and steady.
Correct.
Not that they will break off in the H2. We haven't tried it. We should try that in the next video. But I know what you're saying. You want it to just feel solid and right. And for what a photographer is going to use. This is really a photographer's camera.
100%.
Yeah. 100%. So if you're going into crazy weather conditions, I know there's a lot of brands talk about how passionate they are about the weather and dust sealing. Has this got all of that?
Yeah, dust weatherproof up to -10 degrees Celsius.
Great. It's been stupid cold in Perth lately, so we'll probably need that. If anyone knows the recent temperature, let us know, comments. And again, when we're talking about in-body stabilization, because we mentioned that before,
so
we may not have, you can put a comment, see if this was edited in or not.
It was.
How many stops of image stabilization?
Yeah, it's 7 stops. It's a 5-axis in-body stabilization system. It's crazy.
5-axis but 5-axis for 7 stops.
For 7 stops, yeah, that's correct. And a shot with a mirror lens, 800mm f8. And
what lens was that?
It's a Rokinon.
With an adapter or something?
With an adapter,
That's crazy.
Correct.
That's so cool.
Handheld and it's crazy, the quality of the image. So yeah, I put it to test. I put it to test with shooting kids and fast-moving subjects.
They did improve the resolution on the screen from the T4.
They did, yes. It's noticeable. You can see in broad daylight. It's just, yeah, it's out of this world.
Yeah, and they've gone something pretty cool and different, because I haven't seen this on many. 180,000th of a second.
For electric shutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think that you can just use like an f1 lens in broad daylight.
Yeah. Well, they've got a couple of really crazy fast lenses now.
True.
So they've really expanded their lineup of lenses.
Yeah.
They've got over 40 now, if you think about it. And then, so the H2, H2S, this is the 5th generation sensor for Fujifilm.
Correct.
And it's 40 megapixel.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same as what's in the H2S, I think.
I think it's on the same as the H2.
Yeah.
Because this one is not stacked, but still the speed, the autofocus, and the face detection and eye tracking.
I was going to ask you about the AF tracking.
Oh my God, it's out of this world.
Would that have been one of your favorite features, AF tracking?
100%. It is the reason why I would sell my other interchangeable lenses, Fujifilm, and buy this one.
Right, you heard it here first, so we've got our first sale. So. Oh, yeah, awesome. And what did you photograph then when you got to test over the last few days?
Well, I've been to a few different places. I've been to Kings Park. I did some landscape. I did some family shooting. I did some kids' birthday shooting. I literally crashed the party because I was testing this.
Not
camera.
even your kid?
It was not my kid.
Yeah,
but
right.
they had a photographer there. And I was like, sorry, I'm not trying to steal your job. I'm here to try a camera.
No, very good.
And then a little bit of sunset by the beach as well. So yeah, I've tried a little bit of low light.
Which, all those things you mentioned are very much like, that's when someone is a major, passionate, enthusiast photographer who loves photography and professional, and you're doing kids, portraits, landscape, I heard you mention. And when you're doing a kid's party, there's action, there's stuff moving around.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's so fast. And
if it's not missing focus, that's a big key.
Correct. And the environment is not usually that lit. And you're trying to work with not as fast aperture, because otherwise you don't get everything in focus. There's two kids, etc. So
did you push the ISO a bit?
I pushed the ISO a bit, especially on the beach sunset photos. And the dynamic range is amazing. Obviously, I don't have processing for raw files yet. But just to compare the dynamic range on JPEG photos that I've taken, amazing. You push the shadows and you bring so much detail. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned about JPEG. I know the Fujifilm community love the fact that you can actually, raw, like pros need raw and you have to have it. It's a big part of the photographic process, but there are a lot of times where you just want to be able to shoot JPEG, get it out there, get it to your friends and family, and not have to worry as much about processing. So can you just straight out of camera, JPEG, send this on to your family and friends?
It's amazing.
And people love it. The whole thing of digital, almost compared to film really, is that it's instant and people want to see it straight away. Correct. So if you can get it out to your friends and family that day, or even a client or whatever it is, so that's amazing. I did notice with the film simulation processors, and they already had like 17 or 16, and now they've added one more, so it's like 18 now.
Correct, 19 now, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And it doesn't take long. As soon as this is in the market and people start using it, you will see the range of recipes for that specific film simulation. It's going to increase, and people will start going crazy about that one. So again, Fujifilm listening to us as customers, as people who are really passionate.
They're amazing that way. They're amazing that way. Yeah. Even things like, on H2 and H2S, you've got like the CF Express card slot and the SD card slot, which is natural for a pro to go into those things. But for you guys in the enthusiast, passionate world, to have dual SD card slots, so they've gone back to that in this one, means if you wanted to, you could shoot RAW on one card and JPEG on the other.
Correct. I still do it because what I want to do is have a backup of raw files if I ever want to print something in a bigger format, to be able to edit, etc. But for my day-to-day, it's usually from the JPEG card straight into sending to people. The quality is amazing.
Yeah, so the image quality outstanding. And it's still a weapon when it comes to speed, 15 frames a second?
Yeah, it's crazy. I've put through the test with kids running towards me, and you can see the eye detection. It was all automatic. It was flicking from the left to the right to the one closer to me. And it just kept tracking and kept coming.
Yeah, because it's all well and good to have so many frames per second, but if the autofocus can't keep up with the frames per second, you've got to have all these out of focus shots.
Correct. No,
and you miss the one you really would love and want.
Yeah, the performance there for someone that comes from the very first iteration of Fujifilm, I can't say I've seen anything like this on another Fuji. I've seen the launch of the X-H2, which looks exactly like this, but I didn't have the X-H2 in my hands testing for a full day of photography, etc. And I can tell you the experience of shooting with this, the autofocus, was really blew my mind.
Yeah, because they needed to find a way to sort of connect all the dots and almost fix and finish off the puzzle. So you got XT4 came to like its amazing peak of professional stuff, but then H2 and H2S addressed everyone wanted to do like 8K video, have these crazy fast CF Express card slots, but then T5 actually completes the puzzle because if you want to get some of those extra pro features, you spend a bit more money, you go H2, H2S and stack sensors and so on. But this is the latest generation of sensor and processor, purely really photographers, and then if you want to get into 6K video, go for it as well.
Correct, yeah.
You know, so it sounds like they've really actually given photographers what they wanted.
I believe so. Yeah. It is, as you said, a stripped version of the X-H2 with the photographer's feel, with the dials.
But it gave you guys, it stripped back those few extra things, but then gave you to the things you want.
Yeah, just the only things that are stripped are the things that the photographers are not really focusing on, the 8K and the CF card, etc.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. And then it allows you also to get into the T series at a price point that's a little bit more affordable than say the H series. And I know that some people wonder, you know, where will they go now? Will they just go from T and just keep manufacturing more H? But no, the T addresses Fujifilm's history in photography. I mean, It's in their brand name, Fujifilm. You know, so they've always been in love with filming. You've got like 19 film simulations. And then I noticed one other thing, because it's worth mentioning, they don't have a vertical grip available. They've just got an L-shaped metal grip. Correct. But the vertical grip is making the T4 into this big, huge camera.
Yes.
You can, if you want to do that and go down that style, then you go the H series.
You go the H, yes. Yeah, correct.
Because now that travel's starting to come back in a big way, this would be perfect for travel as well.
Amazing. You put a kit lens on this one here, you can carry around your neck or just one of the arms or even with a wrist.
Yeah, and even just with one battery, because if you don't have vertical grip with extra battery, with just one battery, how many shots do you get?
Man, I'm telling you, yesterday I had this camera, for the whole day I did over 2,500 shots, and I did recharge on a mobile recharger between locations, but that's not recharging 100%.
So that's just a clever, easy way to do it.
Yeah, but it was amazing. Like battery life was amazing because at the end of the day, I still had some juice. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, I think we've covered as much as we can. We've got the dual SD card slots, 15 frames a second, absolutely insane AF tracking.
Insane.
And then address what the photographers wanted. We've kept our retro dials, got the very angle LCD screen instead of the three-way, got the, you know, everything else you could possibly want in a camera, like insane 2,500 shots off one battery.
That's it. That's
cool.
It. It was a crazy experience to have this. I really appreciate it.
No worries. And if you want to get one, as you mentioned earlier, just give me a call.
I will.
Gus, just want to say a huge thank you for coming along today.
Thanks.
And viewers, if you'd love to make some comments, subscribe to our YouTube channel or check out our Facebook or Insta, we'd love to have you pop into any of the stores. We've got the 3 shops. And thank you so much for watching. And if I've made any mistakes, please put it in the comments and I'll get better for next time. Thanks, guys.